Hi, well, oh, okay. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jazz, this is Travels and Fiction, and today I have a book review for you. If you've been around a while, you may remember a glimpse in the past of a series I started called Under the Spothype, and I have just one episode up, and then shit hit the fan and I didn't make any more. But I would like to bring it back. It's been, I think, literally a year. You can watch the previous episode up here if you like. It is a review of Sitting Pretty by Rebecca Tausig, which is a memoir. A really great memoir. Obviously, that's why I chose to spotlight it. And today I'm back with another book I felt very compelled to want to spotlight and talk about on this channel, and that is Honor on the Edge by AJ Sass. I'm going to move over, which way? This way a little bit so I can put the book cover here. Book cover. So this book is a queer middle grade book focusing on Honor, who is non-binary but doesn't quite know it at the start of the book. Just a kind of disclaimer, throughout this video I'm going to refer to Honor with she, her pronouns, because by the end of the book Honor still hasn't quite figured out if she wants to use different pronouns or what's sort of right for her, which is obviously like a very big crux of the book, a very like a big part of the book, which I will go into, but I just wanted to kind of give that as a disclaimer. And also just to kind of recognise, you know, obviously being non-binary doesn't equal they, them pronouns. Like a very important thing to kind of discuss as well. So this book has 769 ratings on Goodreads. It actually now has 800, so that is good times. Yay. And it was published in October 2020. I cannot believe that this book only has like under 1,000 ratings. I don't know why more people are not talking about this book. I absolutely loved it, obviously. I think it was my first 5-star read of the year, actually. So good. So, a brief overview of what the book is about. Anna is 12 years old. She is the reigning, like, juvenile champion in figure skating. She's really excited to move to this new rink with her coach and to start this new program and to get a choreographer. And then issues start arising when her new program is very princess themed. We kind of go from there. So I tried to write down some like organized reviewing notes, but I can never review a book in a like in a kind of order. It just kind of comes out in a big mesh. So I apologise, but I hope that this ends up compelling you to pick it up or add it to your TBR. What I absolutely loved about the book was the kind of complex way that AJ Sass portrayed being non-binary. AJ Sass describes themselves as masculine presenting non-binary, and he uses he, they pronouns. They also were heavily involved in figure skating throughout their life, and you can super tell that with the kind of terminology and ways that figure skating is spoken about in this book. I found it absolutely fascinating. I don't know anything about figure skating, but I do roller skate, which isn't the same thing, but some of the moves, you know, like kind of similar, and obviously I'm interested in skating, so I absolutely love that whole aspect. What was interesting though, that I haven't necessarily thought about so much, was how gendered sports can be, and how, especially figure skating, but I guess this does apply to other sports, but obviously we're talking about figure skating here, how much they are run along a gender binary, and it comes into every single part. And we start to see this through Anna as she starts to kind of not really have the words of why it's making her feel uncomfortable, but all these small things that happen which aren't small, we start to see how much they are affecting her, and she can't work out why. She knows in her gut that she doesn't want to do a princess program, and she doesn't want to wear this big frilly dress for her program that her choreographer is trying to make her wear. She doesn't know why when her mum says her full name it causes like issues within her, and from an adult perspective you can see that all these things are causing her a lot of social dysphoria. And AJ Sass kind of talks about that in the author's note at the end of the book. It's never spoken about that it is dysphoria on the page, but it's just the experience of Anna, a 12-year-old, experiencing dysphoria. And it's not really that the words unnecessarily need to be there, because you're not necessarily going to have those words or that knowledge at age 12. But it's portraying that feeling of uncomfortable and how prevalent that is within figure skating. And it was I think it was done so well. It just brings up a lot of interesting discussions about gender in sports and how binary it is. And I'll leave a few articles I've been reading below about trans athletes and then also non-binary athletes. It's so unspoken about, especially non-binary athletes in such a heavily gendered sporting world. Yeah, really interesting. And I really loved seeing that through Anna. What I also really liked about this book is that Anna didn't really have the answers. She slowly came to realise throughout the book that she was non-binary, but that's not an answer. There we go. That's me done. Label checked. Whatever. It's so much more complicated than that. It takes so much more thought than that. And at the end of the book, and spoilers if you like to go into books, really blind. But I've already kind of mentioned it. Anna doesn't necessarily know where to go with the fact that she's non-binary at the end of the book. She's still figuring out her pronouns, and I really liked seeing that representation. And I think that's so important to see in a middle grade book, for middle grade kids to be able to see you don't necessarily need to have an answer immediately. And what I think was also done really well is there is a character in the book called Hayden, who is a trans boy, and Hayden and Anna become really good friends, which wasn't based in them both finding a connection because of their gender identity. Hayden didn't know that Anna was questioning anything. Hayden actually assumed that Anna was a boy, which is quite a big plot point for Anna in terms of figuring out herself. But they kind of connected aside from that, which was really nice to see, kind of just like friendship in kids. But at the same time, it also showed queer kids and in general queer people having different journeys and having, some people will have it figured out and it's really clear to them, and some don't, and some it takes into adulthood, and that is something I could definitely relate to. And it was really nice to see portraying that diverse kind of complex journey, and that, one experience of being trans is not like a blanket experience of being trans. You can know, or it can take you a really long time to figure out, or you're constantly changing and figuring things out. And that was just beautiful to see in such a accessibly written middle grade. Honestly, I absolutely love this book. So alongside the kind of discussions about gender identity, it's also kind of set on the backdrop of San Francisco, which is obviously quite a queer friendly city. And in this interview I was watching with AJ Sass and Ashley Herring-Blake, who wrote Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World, Andrew was saying that they wanted to set it in San Francisco because even though it is a queer friendly city, and Anna did know about LGBT people and issues, and her coach is gay, and her mum at one point was reminiscing about her coach's wedding with his husband. And so it kind of gives this backdrop of being okay with queerness and queer people, but at the same time it's still, as a queer person, it's still super hard. It's not okay, I'm in a queer city so I feel comfortable to come out. That is absolutely not the case. Just seeing how hard it can be to come out and to figure out who you are, kind of regardless of where you are. And obviously in some situations it is going to be so much harder if you're not in a queer friendly city, if the people around you are not accepting of queer people. But even in those situations where it feels like it should be safe to come out, it's not an easy thing to do. I really appreciated that. And then lastly, the last kind of thing I wanted to touch on was alongside this whole conversation with gender identity, there was a lot of other great conversations sprinkled in about friendship and kind of maintaining friendship and that balance. You know, Anna's not a perfect character. There's a lot of the times where she's being quite selfish to one of her other friends and not getting that balance quite right of caring for them either. And it's just really great to see. And also her mum is working 2 jobs to try and, you know, pay for Anna's like figure skating costs. I can't remember what kind of things they're called. That conversation around kind of like class and working class and the reasons why Anna is able to like train to be a figure skater. Her mum is very much trying to protect her from the money side of things, but it's really interesting seeing it from Anna's perspective, who was quite aware of the money situation and the struggles that her mum was having. And it came up a bit where Anna was able to get free like ice time if she volunteered, and she was kind of tallying in her head just how much money this would like save her mum. And it really showed that like the kind of like dynamic between parents who are constantly, they want to shield their kid kind of from the struggles that they're having, but how aware the kid is was really, really interesting. And I think that was also discussed really well kind of throughout the book. So yeah, overall, I absolutely love this book. I would really recommend it. I listened to it on audiobook, which I absolutely loved. So I would recommend that, but also I imagine the paper copy is also great. I really would like to read more queer middle grade this year because it's seemingly quickly creeping up into one of my like favourite kind of genres to read. So if you have any recommendations, please leave them below. I also just wanted to give a quick shout out to AJ Sass's new book that's coming out. Here's the cover. It's called Ellen Outside the Lines, and I will definitely be picking myself up a copy because Anna on the Edge completely blew me away. I think what also was like, I've never heard of it. I literally stumbled upon it on my library app and I was like, cool, that looks excellent, giving that a listen. And it's turned into just one of my favourite books. I was going to say one of my favourite middle grades, but no, just one of my favourite books. Truly incredible. So I would really recommend it, even if you're not for middle grade, even if you're not a middle grader. So yeah, that's it. That's the episode 2 of Under the Spothype. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have read Anna on the Edge. And yeah, as I said before, please leave me any queer middle grade recommendations down below in a comment. If you've got this far through to the end of the video, thanks so much. I waffle, so I really appreciate it. If you want to leave a comment but you don't have any thoughts right now, that's totally fine. Leave me a little figure skater emoji, obviously, an ice skate emoji, to let me know that you're here. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully it won't be a year until my next Under the Spothype episode. And I will see you in a new video. Bye!